Welcome to the Perfect Place to Put a Practice podcast. I'm your host, Mike Green from Dr. Demographics, and today we're diving into a exciting topic: opening a practice in Las Vegas. Las Vegas is a city that is always in the news, and there's been some really interesting articles the last few weeks about the population growth, what's happening there during tourist season, and what the outlook is for 2026. So I thought we would talk about Las Vegas. As I always refer to it, it is a market of extremes. So whether you're eyeing an acquisition there or wanting to start de novo, launching in Las Vegas definitely requires strategy and timing. In this episode, we're going to break down both of those things. So stick with us. Let's jump into it. All right, welcome back. Like I say, Las Vegas is a land of extremes. I live pretty close to Las Vegas. It's the airport that I fly out of. I live in southern Utah, and so Las Vegas is a city that I'm very familiar with. It's a quick destination for my wife and I when we need to get away, and so we spend a fair amount of time down there, have lots of clients down there, have visited lots of practices, and Las Vegas is a really, really interesting market, and not really a market that can be compared to any other city, in my opinion, in the country, just because of the uniqueness of its location, the goals of the city government, and the opportunities for private practice owners. But before we dive in, I just want to give you guys a shout out for listening to this podcast. We're up over 300 episodes now, and I just want to thank you so much from the bottom of my heart for all the support that you have shown for all the years as Scott and I have done this podcast here at Dr. Demographics. So with that, let's dive into Las Vegas, and let's first talk about the appeal of that market. So when we start talking about Las Vegas as more than just a vacation destination type place, you know, it's not just slot machines and showgirls. It's a booming metro area with a population of over 2.3 million, according to the 2025 Census Bureau. Clark County, where Vegas sits, has seen a real steady growth, adding about 1% annually since 2020. And that's been driven by a mix of young professionals, retirees, and families moving in for the affordable housing in comparison to cities like Los Angeles and San Diego. And if you have ever flown into Las Vegas, you've seen the way the city is laid out. It's interesting because it's very desert, and then all of a sudden you have this massive city, and right in the middle of the massive city you have obviously the Strip and what everybody sees on TV for Las Vegas. But there is a lot of houses, a lot of developments, a lot of golf courses, a lot of really nice areas. The economy is really diverse too. I mean, tourism and gaming obviously are huge, and that's what they're known for. Every year they welcome 40.8 million visitors, at least in 2024. Healthcare is a growing sector in Las Vegas. The healthcare industry added 5,000 jobs in Clark County from 2022 to 2024, which is about a 7% increase, which is pretty substantial for a city that size. That growth is fueling all of the different industries, dental, obviously, in a massive way, but also everything else, veterinary, emergency medical type Instacare services, optometry services. I mean, everything is seeing a pretty big rise. And you know, if we're talking about the population, Las Vegas is quite diverse. You have a 32% Latino population, a 12% Black, 10% Asian residents. Median age is about 38, which creates a mix for practices that cater especially to multicultural communities that specialize in family care, cosmetics, and wellness. Obviously, Nevada is a very business-friendly environment, no state income tax, and streamlined licensing. In other words, they want you to come. They want you to be there. They want you to open a practice there, not only to support the population that's growing and booming in Las Vegas, but also to stay established there. Now, Las Vegas is a place that there's a lot of part-time doctors that have practices elsewhere in the country and just fly into their practice in Las Vegas. But Vegas wants you to be there. there. They want you to stay there. They want you to live there. And Vegas is a place where you can absolutely live. There's a lot of great neighborhoods. There's a lot of great lifestyle. Lake Mead is right near Las Vegas. And so if you're into that kind of recreation, like I say, here in southern Utah, we're only a few hours away with all of the great things in southern Utah, Zion National Park, Bryce Canyon, so many things to do in this general area. And you're not that far from California as well, Southern California. So it's a really interesting placement on the map when it comes to lifestyle. So here's the thing. Like I said, Vegas is a land of extremes. I've said that 1,000 times. When the economy booms, it thrives. Like it is very, very large. But when it dips, like it did during the 2008 recession, and during the COVID-19 shutdowns, unprepared practices can struggle. And I've written many, many articles over the years about Las Vegas, and consistently the most successful practices in a volatile market like Las Vegas are those that build a really strong foundation with a really clear, unique selling proposition and have consistent marketing. And so we'll talk about that a little bit further on how to establish that, but it's something you've got to really be considering. So if we look at opportunities for private practices in Las Vegas, specifically, we're going to always be looking at the suburbs like Henderson and Summerlin. Both are exploding. New housing developments drawing families and retirees. It's a big retiree market as well, especially for those that want to stay near the gambling but don't want to go all the way to Phoenix. Las Vegas is a place that is very attractive for people that are looking for that dry air, but again, don't really want to go as far as Phoenix. So these areas have very high demand also for pediatric dentistry, family-focused, vet care, vision services, all those things are growing. So in a 2024 study from the American Dental Association showed that dental practices in growing suburbs saw an 18% faster patient growth than in urban centers. And so in Las Vegas area, that's pretty much always where you're going to want to be looking, is in those suburbs of City Central. Obviously, there's the tourist community. The tourist economy creates really unique opportunities that are unique, I think, alone to Las Vegas. Vegas always sees a constant influx of temporary residents, casino workers, performers, convention goers who often need emergency or quick services. Dental practices offering same-day crowns, practices that have walk-in opportunities, and then obviously emergency opportunities always do really well in Las Vegas. And Clark County has over 500,000 registered pets, so boarding services actually is a really big option in Las Vegas. And like I mentioned before, Nevada's business-friendly policies are a big draw for most businesses and business owners. The state offers small business grants with tax incentives, especially for practices in underserved areas like northern Las Vegas, which we'll talk about in a minute. The Health Resources and Service Administration notes that Clark County has 12 dental high health professional shortage areas. So for you dentists out there that are looking for opportunities, Las Vegas is definitely a spot where it can get really attractive. And let's not forget about the lifestyle. Again, Vegas attracts really health conscious, image-driven patients that value cosmetics, boutique services, premium services. A practice with a really strong marketing USP can do extremely well in Las Vegas. I know a lot of really, really high-end doctors that both in dental and plastic surgery in Las Vegas that have done extremely well. I mean, when I say extremely well, I mean extremely well. Like they have done awesome in Las Vegas and have certainly built the practices that they want. But it's not all glitz and glamour, right? I mean, there's always challenges. It's true with any market, but Las Vegas is a little interesting when we look at the challenges. So here's a couple things to prepare for. First, the market can be pretty competitive. So in Clark County, as an example, there's over 1,200 dental practices, 300 vet clinics, 400 optometry offices. And so when you look at areas, you've got to be really careful is not the right word, but you've got to be really specific on what your level, what your marketing IQ level is as you're going into these markets, because you can find some of the areas that you think, oh man, this is going to be perfect. When we do a competitive study, we can see, man, it's actually pretty competitive. And so it's why it's so important, obviously, to do a demographic study. We would love to have you do that with us at Dr. Demographics, but something is really important, obviously, for the Las Vegas area. And, whenever you have an area that's tourism heavy, like Las Vegas, you're going to have two different times when things are going to ebb and flow. Number one, probably going to be seasonal, and it is seasonal in Las Vegas to some degree, not as extreme as other places in the country, but the entertainment industry is somewhat seasonal in Las Vegas, certainly during the summer. But also, whenever there's an economic downturn, you're going to see that in Las Vegas as well. And again, we've seen that in 2008. We saw that during COVID. And so whenever you have a big downturn, you're going to have it be pretty tough in Las Vegas during those times. Another challenge is staffing. Staffing can sometimes be a little bit of a challenge. So Vegas has a very transient workforce, high turnover in healthcare roles typically. The median hourly wage for, as an example, a dental hygienist in Nevada is $41.50, which is quite a bit higher than the national average of $39.14. So you'll want to budget for competitive salaries as you invest in your staff retention in Las Vegas. Now, I know a lot of practices that have treated their people well and have had them for many, many years. But generally, Las Vegas is a place where there are a lot of jobs, a lot of opportunity. And so if you don't treat people right, they're probably not going to hang around. They're going to find somewhere else that they feel more comfortable, like they're being treated right. I would say the last challenge that we've identified for this podcast is generally the cost of living in desirable areas like Summerlin, Henderson, that we mentioned before, is rising. And so that's something you're going to want to keep an eye on. Commercial rent in prime locations averages about $2.50 per square foot, which is 20% higher than 5 years ago. So again, it's a land of extremes. It's an area where a 5-year gap between studies can make a pretty massive difference in the cost of living. And so as long as things continue to drive on in the economy nationwide, you're going to see things start to increase in areas like Las Vegas, especially those suburbs like Summerlin and Henderson, where things will continue to get more expensive. So let's talk for a second about if, let's say, you decided you want to open a practice in Las Vegas, what are you going to need to do to be successful? We talked about a USP, obviously super important in Las Vegas. You've got to be really specific about what it is that you want to offer to the community, whether that's high-end cosmetic dentistry or mobile pet services, whatever it is that you are going to offer. You got to be very, very specific on it, because the general professional population in Las Vegas is pretty savvy when it comes to marketing. And so it's not going to be an area where you're going to go in and find that none of the practices are very good marketers. Generally, the IQ is pretty high, and so you do need to be planned for a pretty aggressive marketing approach when you go down there. And when you get down there, digital marketing, super important. Vegas patients are super tech savvy. 85% of Clark County residents use using online reviews to choose their providers, according to a recent healthcare study. This is a group of people who are used to using social media. They're used to clicking on ads. They're on Instagram. They're on TikTok. They're on all these places, including the older populations. And so you have to go in with a digital mindset when it comes to marketing. The other thing is you've got to tap into community networks. So Vegas is actually a really tight-knit community beneath all the glitz. So you want to partner with local businesses, schools, casinos, build referral networks. I've got a really great friend that's a title rep down there, and all he does all day long is network with these kind of smaller businesses outside of the casino businesses, of course. those people truly are a tribe and they will support you, but you've got to go build those relationships and convince them that you're not just there for a couple of days and then you're going to fly out, but you're really going to invest in the market. And the last thing that I think is really important is you've got to always be prepared for economic swings. They are going to happen in Las Vegas. They just are. It's always going to be better than the rest of the country when it comes to when things are good, and it's going to be a little worse than the rest of the country when things are bad. And so it's a really important place for you to set aside a financial cushion for those lean times that will come for sure, but also in the fat times, right? When things are going good, you've just got to make sure that you're managing your money well and building a solid foundation for your practice. So I promised that I would share a couple of really great areas in Las Vegas for you to look at. And I have mentioned 3, and I'll go back to those same 3. So Henderson, great area, fast growing suburb, population of 330,000, median income of 85,000, which is about 15% above the national average. Very, very family friendly. 25% of the population is under 18, so it's a really great place if you're pediatric focused. Right now there's I would say lower than average commercial rents, about $2 per square foot, make it pretty cost effective when it comes to those commercial rents. So Henderson's definitely an area for you to look at if you want to build a family-centric practice. Summerlin is another great area, master plan community, 120,000 residents, a little higher median income at 100,000, perfect for an upscale practice. A lot of the people that make better money in Las Vegas live in the Summerlin area, and so it's a great place for cosmetics, premium services, boutique practices, those kind of things. Also, there's an aging population there, so a lot of the money that is like kind of older money that's in Las Vegas is in the Summerlin area. And so I would say in that area it's about 20% over the age of 65. So if you're looking to service that market, Summerlin's probably the one you want to go for. And you've got to have a wild card, right, for Las Vegas if it's truly an area you want to look at. One you cannot sleep on is northern Las Vegas. It is an area that's growing so quickly, and with a really diverse population, it's kind of redefining what Las Vegas is. And so there are some areas of North Las Vegas you do not want to be in, absolutely. But there's a lot of places that it is kind of a gold rush of great families, great communities, and the practices that go there are going to do really, really well. So I would say an underserved population for sure in northern Las Vegas. There's about 270,000 residents, and quite a few of those are younger. I would say that it's probably very more diverse probably than a lot of other areas of Las Vegas. You've got about a 40% Latino population in certain parts of North Las Vegas. And so if you're looking for a bread and butter practice that's going to be a mix of insurance and Medicaid type patients, North Las Vegas currently has a lot of places like that. But also there are some more meat and potatoes areas in North Las Vegas that are being built currently. And so definitely something to be looking at when you're considering different spots in Las Vegas. Okay, hopefully that was helpful. Hopefully that gave you a little bit of a bird's eye view of Las Vegas, where the opportunities are. Hey, opening a practice in Las Vegas is a bold move. It's an area that if you go there, you got to commit to it. There's nothing around it. And so you've got to live on that population in Las Vegas, which is fantastic for those that want to build there. You want to focus on that strong USP. You want to lean on your digital marketing. You've got to build those community ties and prepare for that economic swing that is bound to happen in Las Vegas. 2026 could be a great year. I think it's going to be a great year for Las Vegas. Be a really good time for you to open a practice. So if you want more specific personalized advice on where to open in Las Vegas, visit us at drdemographics.com or give me a shout. You can call us at 844-704-0499 or shoot me an email directly at mike@drdemographics.com. Again, my name is Mike Green with Dr. Demographics, and I will see you on the next episode.